right. Welcome back, everybody, to Altcoin Daily. My name is Aaron. Before we get into the recent news, and this is information that you do not want to miss to stay informed, before I even play you a video clip of Mike McGlone, who is a commodity strategist at Bloomberg Intelligence, articulating why it's his opinion, or more likely the opinion of Bloomberg Intelligence, that a $100,000 Bitcoin price by 2025, this is very reasonable. Before we get into that, let's talk about Bitcoin today. Let's talk about Bitcoin big picture. And I want you to understand that Bitcoin at $12,000 today is still a great buy with unbelievable asymmetrical upside potential. Now, all you need to do to understand why Bitcoin will increase in value over time is understand how scarce gold is, realize that Bitcoin is a better gold, more importantly, realize that the world is recognizing Bitcoin as a better gold, as digital gold. And then if you look into it, if you continue doing research, you can actually see that Bitcoin is being bought up en masse in a verifiable way. You can actually verify and see Bitcoin leaving the market, taking away supply as demand increases. Now, I've shared this chart / metric with you before, but here's Willy on Tone Vase's show talking about exactly this. TLDR, we are seeing the mother of all Bitcoin accumulations happening right now, greater than any cycle before it.
So we know that about $500 million, $500 million has been scooped up off the markets into cold storage by MicroStrategy and Square. So, it's not like they buy coins off someone who's wanting to sell $500 million worth. They scoop it up off the markets. Even if you go to an OTC, over-the-counter, provider where they're trying to match buyers and sellers, ultimately they scoop up off the market. And so what you see here is all the coins that are sitting on our spot exchanges. I'm excluding Bybit, BitMEX, these kind of derivative, these derivative exchanges where they're just casinos where you're going long or short. These are spot exchanges where people are actually selling the underlying coins. And what we're seeing here is, you look at these times where the coins sitting on exchanges, spot exchanges, are dropping there. Well, there's a whole bunch of people buying those coins and moving into cold storage. We saw that here as well in this accumulation band, the $3,000 bottom. And now we're seeing the mother of all accumulations. The mother of coins being scooped up like there's no tomorrow. That's 250,000 Bitcoins. So what? $2.5 billion of coins being scooped up off the exchanges. So we can account for only 1/5 of that being MicroStrategy and Square.
Unbelievably bullish. This is a metric that 99% of the population does not realize, but you and me and people who subscribe to this channel, we are in the know, and we can see that this cryptocurrency market is about to get a whole lot bigger. Now, I'm going to leave a link to this full Tone Vase interview in the description. Before I play you the next clip, though, think about what's happening with Bitcoin accumulation. Just think about it. 3.74% of Bitcoin's total 21 million supply, most of it this year, has been locked up in treasuries of publicly traded companies. We know this because publicly traded companies legally have to disclose their assets on their balance sheet. And you just have to do the math. 800,000 divided by 21 million is about 3.74%. They have it, you don't. And this list is only going to increase as it gets harder and harder to get a percentage of Bitcoin's total supply. So they're taking supply off the market as demand is increasing. And this is just publicly traded companies. It's not even taking into account lost Bitcoin, Bitcoin held in private treasuries, Bitcoin held by retail investors, family offices, or even exchanges who need to buy the Bitcoin in order to sell it to you at a later date. Demand increases for Bitcoin every day as supply decreases every day. Think about it. And Mike McGlone, a commodity strategist at Bloomberg Intelligence, has thought about it. He says for Bitcoin to reach a price point of $100,000 by 2025, all that needs to happen is nothing. Like the video, listen to this.
Bitcoin is on track to hit $100,000 by 2025, according to analysis by our next guest, Mike McGlone, commodity strategist at Bloomberg Intelligence. Mike, welcome back to the show.
Thank you, David. It's good to be back.
Mike, let's talk about the drivers of 100,000 Bitcoin in 5 years' time. What's going to take us there?
More of the same. See, that's the key thing about Bitcoin is I don't see what's going to stop it from doing what it has been doing for most of its life, and that's appreciating. The key thing it has been doing since it went to 100 and then 1,000 and then 10,000, which has really been the consolidation price for the last 3 years, is it just has a history of adding zero. So if you add some maturity to that, which we should be, because volatility is declining, it's becoming more adopted, to get to the next zero, i.e. from 10,000 basically the first time to get to the next level, it should take probably, instead of last time it took 4 years, should probably take 8 years. But then I factor in all the other factors like demand and supply. And a key thing that most of our viewers need to understand about Bitcoin is supply is declining incrementally and will not be impacted by price. Unlike gold, higher prices will pull up supply. So all we need is more adoption, more demand, and I see most indicators pointing positive.
Very nice. Very, very, very nice. So for the rest of this interview, they pretty much just talk about gold and other macro things. I mean, this is a gold channel. Seems like gold channels are turning into half Bitcoin channels lately since, the gold Bitcoin comparison and just the interest is there. Anyways, let's quickly go over the most pressing pieces of news of the day. I do want to reiterate, I am not a quote-unquote Bitcoin maximalist. I'm a Bitcoin fundamentalist. I recognize why Bitcoin is fundamentally different from everything else. But I want to be exposed to the gains of the rest of the market. And, for anybody who thinks this is just going to be a Bitcoin cycle, I think is incredibly short-sighted, especially with stuff like this, PayPal adding Bcash, Ethereum, Litecoin. It seems to me that the plumbing and infrastructure in the past 3 years has 100x'd, but people deeming Bitcoin as the only valuable cryptocurrency, that is not a conclusion I hear the rest of the world coming to. And because of that, I think we're going to see, just like we saw Ethereum and tons of altcoins go on massive runs in 2016, 2017, 2018, I think that something like that is going to happen again. Anyway, let's get to the recent news. Funds locked in DeFi surged to $1 billion as analysts. Funds in DeFi, so this is what I'm talking about. Following a 6-week cooling off period for the majority of decentralized finance protocols, the DeFi bulls are back in action as total value locked surges to a new record high. The amount of crypto collateral locked across DeFi protocols has hit a new all-time high of $12.3 billion, according to DeFi Pulse. So money, Ethereum continues to get locked up in DeFi protocols. And unlike the ICO era of 3 years ago, where Ethereum would pass through ICOs, then get dumped on the market, this stuff is getting locked up in these protocols. So that's taking supply off the market too. WordPress content can be timestamped on Ethereum. A WordPress plugin allows publishers to timestamp content on Ethereum for immutability and copyright protection. So I don't know who's doing this, but now it is available. The plugin can help with copyright issues, proof of who created a piece of content, and to reassure readers that it has not been altered. WordPress currently powers around 37% of all websites and has a 60% share of the CMS market. Next piece of news, Ethereum set to become the first blockchain to settle 1 trillion in 1 year. The Ethereum network is processing more than double the transaction volume of Bitcoin and is on course to process 1 trillion this year. And that, of course, is because tons more transactions happen on Ethereum since it's powering all these dApps and stuff. Then finally, Michael Saylor claims that his company MicroStrategies will hodl Bitcoin for 100 years, saying this is not speculation nor a hedge. It is a deliberate corporate strategy to adopt the Bitcoin standard. I like this. I would bet, though, once Bitcoin reaches $100,000 or something like that, good money management, I would assume he'd be taking some sort of profits. But, he says he's going, I assume there's a portion of his Bitcoin that he's going to hodl for 100 years or more. And I think a lot of people are doing that. And that is it for me today, my friends. We have some interviews coming out with Elio Trades. Make sure you watch these 2 clips. The full interview is dropping very soon if it's not already out. I don't know if you watched this clip. It's something, I shared in this clip is, although, 6 months ago I was talking about I'm going to wait to buy altcoins until $20,000 because I was being conservative for years, months. In the past couple months, I have actually made some altcoin trades, and the majority have been profitable. And it's just because, it's stuff like the PayPal news and all this other stuff, it just seems to me that it's not going to be an only Bitcoin cycle, and these altcoins do pump. And I just wanted to share with you guys, I'm getting bullish on the greater cryptocurrency market once again. Like I said, I like to play things conservatively. And as I say in one of these clips, I take profits heavily into Bitcoin because that's what I want to accumulate. So with that being said, see you tomorrow, guys.